When I was a kid, my dad sat me down. I was 12 years old. He told me, Neil, go do something useful with your life. Go learn Java. I was like, okay, Papa, I'll go learn Java. Before you knew it, I was on codecademy.com, I was on Khan Academy, I was on YouTube watching all these tutorials, learning how to fucking code Java. And this video is going to tell you exactly what I wanted to know when I was that 12-year-old kid that was learning to program. If you're just starting out in your career as a software developer or as a coder, don't worry. This is going to be a roller coaster of a ride and you're going to have a lot of fun learning these concepts. You see, first comes to first, you need to learn the basics. And you can achieve this by going on codecademy.com, you can follow a basic YouTube course. Don't start fucking only following tutorials. That's not going to bring you anywhere, okay? So once you have the basics covered, you're pretty much almost there. I need you to understand this. Every single platform that you use, like whether it be Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat or Twitter, you need to understand that these platforms are basically pieces of text that are bundled together and you just run a command in a thing called a terminal. Now, I'm pretty sure you guys know what a terminal is by now, but basically any big web app, any software is basically but just a collection of these documents bundled together. And once you have that done in the right folder structure, you just run a command, you press enter, and then boom, your app is live. I really struggled to grasp this concept as a 12-year-old. Imagine you have one text file that's called GUI.py, right? A simple Python file. The only thing that happens when you run this Python file in a, let's say in a terminal, is that a simple GUI pops up. Imagine you have a second file called main_functions.py. Right? Now this file, the only thing this file does is it runs functions that you're going to use in order to process the input that GUI.py catches. Okay? Bear with me. And then you have the third file called storage.py. The only thing this third file does is that it stores shit on the computer. That's it. Whatever you pass to those functions that are written in that file, in that Python file, it'll just store it to the database. Okay? So at this point, we have GUI.py, we have main_functions.py, and we have storage.py. All right? I just want you to visualize this for a minute, okay? Now, next, we're just going to connect these files together so that you know how they interact with each other, okay? So GUI, obviously, whatever you pass into GUI, you want to do something with that information. Otherwise, your app is just dead. So we're going to make a connection between GUI.py and main_functions.py, right? Now suppose I'm making a calculator and I have two text boxes, A and B, and I want to basically add them up, okay? So the GUI is basically going to collect A and B, main processing is going to add them together. Now eventually you want to return it to the goddamn interface, right? So you're going to send it back. So that way we have another arrow pointing from main_functions.py to GUI.py. Now sometimes in a lot of these applications, you just don't want to have an app that doesn't remember what you've done before in the past, and that's where storage comes in. Imagine that storage.py and main_functions.py communicating with each other so that they can remember and store and recall the things that they've done in the past. Okay, boom, that was so complicated, but let's get it straight. You have this interaction with each other. Instead of having these three stupid ass file names, I want you to imagine this. GUI.py becomes frontend. Main processing files become backend. And then you have storage.py becoming database. Bada bing, bada boom, you have a full stack architecture, or at least a very basic full stack architecture. Now, if this is clicking in your mind and you realize that, hey, if I just put in the time and effort to learn how to create, let's say a React front end, and I put in the time to create a basic main processing or main_functions.py file, aka a basic server or a basic set of functions, and I get really good at one of the databases that are out there. Either it's SQL, either it's Mongo, or NoSQL. Just pick one, right? You pick one of those database systems and you connect them together, like I told you before, with all these arrows and shit. You're a full stack developer. And from that day on, you'll be able to create wonderful, robust systems that form the lifeblood of society that we have today. Okay? I've basically shown you how if you memorize this pattern, you can create whatever the fuck you want to create. Now, obviously, with AI and stuff, main processing.py, aka the backend, aka the server, now that becomes a bit complicated. It'll start to get way complicated. The more complex shit you do in your server, the more complex it gets. Now, just a tidbit here. Whenever you have so many complicated services, like Instagram, for example, right? They store the likes, they store the comments, they memorize the following follower relationship. They do so many things, right? They have these things called services. Now, services are basically individual files responsible for individual tasks that this project does, okay? So once you have all these services in this main functions.py, right? You have all these services, you have a complex web app. If I knew this shit when I was 12 years old, I would have become a fucking billionaire, a tech billionaire, a front cover, Forbes, Time magazine, you name it. But because I was stuck learning via codecademy.com and not applying the things, not creating beautiful projects back when I was 12, because I was just stuck fucking doing FizzBuzz or some shit and calling that productivity, I stayed behind. And I don't want that shit for you, man. I want you to fucking pick up your fucking keyboard and your mouse and create beautiful projects. Because you and I both know software and AI is the fucking backbone of society that we live in today. You already know this shit. I don't need to remind you this shit. Okay? Listen, I want you to create beautiful products. As you guys probably know already, I have a link in the description. Join our community filled with fucking genius developers, genius engineers that want to see a change in society, that want to fucking not do useless shit compared to those TC or GTFO developers, those greedy, stupid motherfuckers that work at big tech companies and basically just slack off. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just look at what happened to Twitter. Elon fired 80% of the engineers there, and nothing happened to the fucking system. Can you imagine firing 80% of your engineers and your system staying alive and well, doing what it fucking always does? And better things these days, with 20% of the fucking workforce. So please, be productive, be genius developers, because I need you. Your fucking grandchildren need you. Okay? Life is a gift given by the gods to make proper use of it. I hope this whole shit made sense, and I want you to fucking build good shit. Alright? Peace out, take care, love you, bye.